And this is it, the final clip of my Pokemon Snap LP. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more fast-forwarding to go through, partly because I decided that not taking the picture of Snorlax when it's so easy to do now that we have the flute was just being lazy for the sake of it. And considering just how short this game is, that's a little hard to justify that kind of lazy. And no, I have no idea how long it'll take for me to get around to LPing the mainline Pokemon games. Considering how little the franchise has actually changed since day one, and how many other Japanese role players I'm really looking forward to going through, like Final Fantasy, Suikoden, the Tales of series, and that's just the ones I can name off the top of my head. I had planned on doing at least a few of the Pokemon mainline games at one point, but Sword and Shield was so oddly underwhelming to me that I just lost enthusiasm for the idea. It's one thing for them to be slow changing things up on handheld systems. Nintendo tends to stick to working formulas. Still, considering the state of Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Fire Emblem Three Houses, either Game Freak got lazy to the point of complacency, at least considering how much money the franchise makes even when they're just playing, or someone high up in the chain decided to just make it a rush job, and that's just a damn shame. The Caves landmark is the only one I ever had trouble finding as a kid, so I don't feel as ashamed that I needed a second run after this one just to find it. Though I am a bit ashamed that I had to do second runs through just about every other area in the game for the sake of finding some of the most obvious landmarks. Especially since it's not like we're going through new areas and seeing all new things that just capture our attention in an enthralling way. We've seen pretty much everything these areas have to show us. And once again, I remember why in various first-person shooters I prefer to use guns instead of grenades. I'm just not precise enough with them. As a side note, anyone else find it a bit disconcerting that we can strike a Pokemon hard enough for it to cease to exist? I could have sworn we were brought to this island purely to be a photographer, and since we're trying to take pictures of creatures in the wild, assuming you can really call any of these things wild, gets this bloody egg to hatch. Simple enough. And I can't help finding it even more funny that while I genuinely like fire Pokemon, my favorite of the legendary birds was Articuno, the absolute opposite of fire. While my opinion of Moltres was at best, so you set a Fearow on fire, so what? Excuse me for being annoyed that there aren't any Pokemon nearby to fall asleep as Jigglypuff sings. I'm not asking for the whole gag of the poor little puffball being pissed everyone fell asleep during her song and using a magic marker on everyone's sleeping faces. I just like more evidence in this rather light-hearted game that Pokemon have special powers. Hell, this game can't even manage to make me believe that any of these things are wild animals. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I probably would have bought later installments if they ever made more than one Pokemon Snap. It's just something I find funny. And why do I like this game so much when it's so bare bones? And why would I love it if Nintendo ever released another Pokemon Snap, even if they didn't do much of anything to improve on this game?
Yes.
And while I'm at it, why is it that I stopped liking the mainline Pokemon games by Generation 3 with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, but I never really stopped liking the franchise? Hell, I've dropped some franchises after far fewer underwhelming installments than frickin' Pokemon. And, yeah, bloody hell. And once again, I have to call bullshit on the fact that the game changed the rules for how many points per size is acceptable for a Pokemon before we can see more of it graded. Honestly, I thought that Articuno shot was pretty nice. Though I probably shouldn't trust my own eyes that much, especially since we somehow managed to not notice all these Grimer in the area until this particular run. Sure, it's living sewage that probably should have popped up somewhere different than this, but still. And that's our landmark for the cave, something you might not even think to aim your camera at unless you already knew its importance. Well, hopefully one of those shots was more acceptable for Articuno. I'm still annoyed that we don't have any brakes to go along with the booster on this frickin' tram. Again, not a fan of Jinx, but maybe the professor will like this pick of it more than the previous one. I know I could finish the game sooner by just speeding from one landmark to the next and ignoring the Pokemon at this point, but even if there's not much point in gaining points anymore, it's still kind of fun. Besides, either way, the game is going to end in this clip and prove to be one of, if not the, shortest game I've LP'd so far. Well, that was only barely better than the previous one with an extra dancing Jigglypuff. Just, one more area to grab a landmark from, and it's the most obvious landmark that Oak honestly could not find because he's a blind idiot. And of course, the Squirtle doesn't even try to dance for the flute. Well, at least the flute manages to get that group of Graveler to move. I was starting to think this area just didn't have anything for the poor little thing to affect in any way. I know, not much point in smacking Mankey again to open that dam, but may as well. Well, at least that's changed a little, though it looks like Eddie seems to stare at the area as if it's something brand new, just like he did the first time. Do you really need to add the same Pokemon points when the special is called Group Dance? Right, we've unlocked the final area of the game, which has the closest thing to a boss fight around here. Really? You're gonna go with Constellations? Why in the hell would there be a constellation of Mewtwo if... Ugh. Again, the more I think about it, the more this island just falls apart on me. You made a path to a bunch of clouds. Dear God, this game just does such a crappy job justifying things that it may as well not even bother. And sadly enough, I can't help feeling like this is the most boring area of the game.
Yes.
We can't actually take a picture of Mew while he's got that bubble shield around him. We have to strike the shield repeatedly in order to be able to get a picture of the cute little bastard. And considering my throwing aim is a damn good thing, we have infinite ammo. We're just gonna keep doing that until we get a picture of the little bastard. And this area doesn't have any other Pokemon to look at here. I can't even say the area we're going through is visually stunning. Only one Pokemon to take a picture of. The terrain doesn't change at all despite how far we go. It just feels like a very lazy way to end the game. I had more fun getting here than I actually did being here. And with that, I feel like we've taken the best pictures we could of Mew. Hitting fast forward again because there's no way for us to just leave an area before reaching the bloody portal. And there's no hint for how far that portal is from our current position. Hell, I'm not even actually getting the sense that we're moving. And while I'm at it, there's no hint that the apples we throw or the gas grenades we miss will cause any harm after falling who knows how far. Because I'm not getting the sense that we're actually at cloud level here. We're a good deal higher than that. Ah, there's our portal. Sorry, Mew, but you're more fun to discover than to actually play with. "15 pictures of just one psychic feline, and we can only show the professor one of them." Part of me would prefer one where Mew is looking back at us, but this looks like the professor will at least appreciate the size. So, without seeing anything else, just taking a Mew picture at all gains us an automatic 2,500 points. I'm sorry, but I don't see why this gets to be the highest scored picture of them all. Sure, Mew is among the best legendaries the series ever had because of how it's treated, but still, something about that feels off.
You made it.
I'm sorry, but did you somehow think we'd get killed along the way or something? Because when I hear lines like, "You made it," I just remember all the various combat-oriented games I tend to play, and this was my goddamn vacation from the grinder. That said, guess we're going back to those kinds of games now that we're done here. Thanks for the distraction, Professor Oak. For some reason, I find the credits music a bit annoying, possibly because it makes me think of Donkey Kong, not Pokemon. I like the touch that we get to see the pictures we took on our way through the game, but I'm not sure in what order they're shown to us, or what really decides which pictures end up in the credits. And of course, I don't know how the professor's research paper ended up looking once he actually started sitting down and writing the damn thing.